Let me ask you a question, a hypothetical question. When you're looking to buy a new bike and your hierarchy of needs, Maslow-esque, where are you putting power and tech? Usable power, value for money, depreciation, affordability, fuel consumption, and all of those things. Well, fuel consumption is not really a thing for most of us. Not on a motorbike, it's a toy. If you're buying a motorcycle as a toy and worrying about fuel consumption, perhaps you should have a different hobby. But the most important two, I think, are power and usable power. Now, I've fallen victim a couple of times of, well, that's got X amount of torque, X amount of brake horsepower, that's got to be good. And I'm guilty of, well, preaching about usable power. I know years ago when I had R6s, I've never been a fan of a 1000cc four-cylinder bike, but a 600, you have to use the gearbox, you have to ride it. Much more engaging experience. And then when you get into the 1000cc, I think that is diminished significantly. More recently, when I had the 1300R, BMW, 149 newton meters of torque at 6,500 revs, and I was in second gear once, and I was at 5,000 RPM, and I was already, well, you know. So I couldn't achieve peak torque on that bike. Now, in the last couple of days, my social media feed has been about the two of the new Ducati, the RSs, the Multistrada and Diavel. Stunning bits of kit, beautifully designed, and cram-packed full of power and features. But I wonder who they're for. Now, if you can afford one of them, and you're rich enough to do so, then you should buy one, and you should hang it on the wall and take it down on Sundays. But if you're not that rich, I don't know what it's for. Now, the Diavel being the fastest ever 0 to 60 or something, I think I read. And the features and specification which you can get on both of them. I wonder if we're in a sort of half sort of Jenga scenario where we have more power, therefore we need more tech to control the power. And then we have more power, and then we need more tech, and we can go, this is the best version of this that's ever been made, and it is. But it's not a version that we needed. Now, when the LCD screen first came out on the GS, I wanted that screen so much, and I didn't want dials, because dials are shit and old-fashioned, and I wanted something modern and relevant and all those other good things. So I've been drawn to that technology. But you can see here, I've priced up a Multistrada RS with everything, and it's £46,000. If you did use that bike in any meaningful way, you would depreciate it like a brick. You're going to lose your ass. But if you're rich enough, maybe it doesn't matter. But I think the motorcycle community, we're getting treated like morons. Well, maybe we are morons. Because the headline is, this is the best one ever made. Well, I must buy the best one ever made. Even though I couldn't ride it to its full potential, half of its potential, I don't need most of the technology. And I hope my wife doesn't know how much I paid for this. Now, I know that because I have a Ducati Monster SP here, and I had a non-SP version. And I don't notice the difference in the suspension. Now, maybe others would. After 20 odd years of riding and owning as many bikes as I've had, my ass is not refined enough to know the better suspension I've got on that bike. So it comes down to all of these bikes where the only reason to buy it is you can. And unless you are the 1% of the 1% who can really ride, like I mean really ride, and on a track, and have the disposable income that you can buy it, afford to bin it, and lose the money on it. I just don't get where we're going. Now, I have got the TRX and the Monster, 20 odd years apart. And when I go from the TRX onto the Monster, that Monster feels like a spaceship in comparison. It's got plenty enough power. And if it's pure power we want, the brake horsepower is kind of irrelevant. It's all about the torque, really. And if you want torque, the R1300 GS as an adventure bike has got more torque than the Multistrada. I mean, arguably, the Multistrada will sound infinitely better. But we've got Öhlins. Are we going to notice that? We've got front and rear radar for adaptive cruise control and blind spot protection. We've got traction control, wheelie control, brake control. Hands-free start, I'm not really not sure what that is. And much more besides. But the only disappointing thing about the Multistrada RS, and it being the best one ever made, is next year they'll make another one. And that won't be the best ever made. And you didn't need this one, so you definitely won't need that one. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. Cheers.